What's up? What's happening? You already know who it is and what it is. It's your boy Q Walker, aka Nephew Q, here to continue with my top 5 players from each NBA franchise. Last time I did the Atlanta Hawks, I'm going in alphabetical order. So this time I'm going to do the Boston Celtics. Now, this list is going to be a little bit difficult because the Boston Celtics has so much history with their franchise. So narrowing it down to the top 5 players was really, really difficult. I'm probably going to have the same issue when I get to the Los Angeles Lakers and other teams and things of that nature. But for today's show, I have a special guest with me. I have my son right here, Lil Q, who wanted to hang out and watch his pops do his thing on his top 5 list for the Boston Celtics. So let's get right on into it. As I mentioned earlier, trying to narrow it down to top 5 Boston Celtics players with so much history, so many Hall of Famers, so many great players who've done great things for the Boston Celtics. Narrowing it down was so difficult. So here goes my honorable mention to kick it off. The first player that we have in my honorable mention for the Boston Celtics top 5, and this is a history lesson for people, so if you don't know who some of these guys are, get a book, get on Google, get on YouTube, look it up. So the first guy we got is Sam Jones. He went by the nicknames Mr. Clutch and the Shooter. Now, he's a Hall of Fame player. He's a 5-time All-Star. He's a 10-time NBA champ, 3-time All-NBA, and of course, he was on the 75 greatest players list. Now, imagine this. You play in the NBA for 12 seasons, and 10 of those seasons, you won a title. That's what Sam Jones did. So he's a 10-time NBA champ, Hall of Famer, 5-time All-Star. He averaged 17 points per game, 4 rebounds, and a little over 2 assists a game. You got to remember, 17 points during the 50s and the early 60s, that's a lot of points. So honorable mention goes to my guy, Sam Jones. But like I mentioned earlier, it's hard to narrow it down. So I had to do 2 honorable mentions for the Boston Celtics because they have so much history and so many great players. So the other honorable mention is, of course, my guy, Paul Pierce. The Truth, P-Double, whatever you want to call him. Paul Pierce makes my list as honorable mention for the top 5 greatest Boston Celtics players of all time. So if Paul Pierce is making an honorable mention, you already know how stacked the top 5 can be. But anyways, let's rattle off some things that Paul Pierce has done through his illustrious NBA career. Of course, he's a Hall of Famer. He's a 10-time All-Star, 2000 NBA champ, and he was also the Finals MVP. He's a 4-time All-NBA player. And of course, he's a member of the 75 greatest member team. And during his 15 seasons with the Boston Celtics, he averaged 21 points per game, 6 rebounds, and a little under 4 assists a game for the Boston Celtics. So my 2 honorable mentions are Sam Jones and the Truth, Paul Pierce. Now let's get right on into the nitty-gritty of what y'all really came to see is who is in my top 5. So starting off number 5, again, history lesson. This guy's a point guard for the Boston Celtics during their great run through the late 70s and the 80s. This is Dennis Johnson. R.I.P. to the great Dennis Johnson. Dennis Johnson was a Hall of Fame player. Well, he's a Hall of Fame player. He's a 5-time All-Star, 3-time NBA champ, 2-time All-NBA. Now, this is what the great thing about him is he's known for being a lockdown defender. So he was 9 times All defensive team in the NBA. And of course, he was the NBA Finals MVP for the 78-79 NBA Finals. During his time with the Boston Celtics, he averaged 14 points per game, 5 assists, and a little under 4 rebounds a game. So we're starting off with number 5 with Dennis Johnson, the great Boston Celtics point guard. Now, he played for other teams. He played for Seattle Supersonics and the Phoenix Suns, but that was before he got to Boston. When he got to Boston, his career just took off, and you've seen the accolades that came from that. So, man, as you can tell, the list is already stacked. So let's get to our number 4 player on this list. This guy here is noted with Hakeem Olajuwon with having the best post footwork in the NBA. Some people rank him ahead of Hakeem. Some people rank Hakeem ahead of him. It's 1, 2, 2, 1. However you want to do it, but it's Mr. Kevin McHale. That's right. They call him the black hole or Herman Munster from the Addams family. So this guy right here, he's a Hall of Fame player, 7-time All-Star, 3-time NBA champ, All-NBA team. He was All-Rookie. He was 6-time All-Defensive team member, 2-time Six Man of the Year, and of course a member of the 75 greatest players of all time. And he was just with the Boston Celtics for his entire career. But during his career with the Boston Celtics, this guy averaged 17 points per game, a little over 7 rebounds a game, 1 assist. But like I mentioned earlier, he is known for his great post footwork. A lot of people go to him to get, moves, as well as Hakeem Olajuwon. So that is Kevin McHale on my list. Now, top 3. I know y'all probably wonder who's in his top 3. Larry Bird's got to be in there. Bill Russell's got to be in there. But y'all don't know how I'm gonna, rank them in there. But let's get to the number 3 player that we have, and we have again another history lesson. If you don't know who this guy is, get on Google, pick up a book, get on YouTube, find some clippings. But here we go. This guy is Hondo, John Havlicek. I'm pretty sure y'all have heard the famous clip, Havlicek steals the ball, which is in that clip right there that you're watching. John Havlicek is a Hall of Fame member. He's a 13-time All-Star, 8-time NBA champ, 11-time All-NBA. He made the All-Rookie team in 1962-63. He was 8 times All-Defensive Team member, as well as the Finals MVP in the 74 NBA Finals. And of course, with all his accolades, he's got to be 75 greatest players of all time. He spent his whole entire career with the Boston Celtics, and his averages of points per game of 20 points per game, 4 assists, and 6 rebounds a game for Mr. John Havlicek. Hondo is what they call him right there. So now we get to the nitty gritty. We got the top 2, Lil Q. We got the top 2. Now, of course, y'all already figured it out probably by now. It's Bill Russell or Larry Bird, Bill Russell. So I'm going to introduce y'all to my number 2 greatest Boston Celtic of all time, and it's going to go to Larry Joe Bird. One of the baddest men to ever lace him up. We already know he's the baddest white boy to ever lace him up, but he's just one of the baddest players to ever lace up the shoes. Now, he's going to be top 3 small forward of all time. However you want to rank him, in no particular order, LeBron, KD, Larry Bird, however you want to rank them. I ain't here to do that. Argue with your mama about how you want to rank them, but he's definitely no worse than top 3 small forward of all time. Like I said, one of the baddest NBA players to ever lace him up. And for Larry Bird, he goes by Larry Legend, the hit from Fritz Lick, Kodak, and also the Great White Hope. He helped restore the NBA back to its glory years in the 1980s with the great duels with Magic Johnson and the Los Angeles Lakers. But anyways, if you don't know who Larry Joe Bird is, let me go ahead and rattle off some accolades for my guy right here. He's a Hall of Fame player, 12-time All-Star, 3-time NBA champ, 10-time All-NBA player. He was All-Rookie team for 1979-80. Rookie of the Year going against Magic Johnson. He was 3-time All-Defensive Player of the Year. He's a All-Star Game MVP, 2-time Finals MVP, 3-time MVP, and of course, a member of the 75 greatest members of all time in the NBA. During his run with the Boston Celtics, which he spent his whole entire career with, he averaged 24 points a game, 10 rebounds, and 6 assists. Like I said, one of the baddest dudes to ever lace him up, and definitely the best white player to ever play in the NBA. I mean, it just is what it is at this point. And so you can already guess who the greatest Boston Celtic player is of all time. He's Mr. Boston Celtic himself, Bill Russell. They call him Russ, aka Whiskers, aka Willie, aka Bill the Heel. Bill Russell is very instrumental in starting the Boston Celtics dynasty that you see today. They have 17 championships, but this guy was a part of 13 of them, 11 as a player, 2 as a coach. So he's been a part of majority of their NBA championships. But let's go ahead and rattle off a list of his accomplishments. Of course, he's a Hall of Fame player. He's a 12-time NBA All-Star, 4-time rebound champ, 11-time NBA champ as a player, 11-time All-NBA player, 5-time MVP. He's the 1963 All-Star Game MVP. He made the All-Defensive Team in 1968-69. And, of course, he's a member of the 75 greatest players of all time. During his run with the Boston Celtics, which he spent his whole entire career with, he averaged 15 points a game, 20 rebounds a game. Let me say that again. This dude averaged 22 rebounds a game. In one season, well, 2 seasons actually, back to back, he averaged 24 rebounds a game. So, I mean, think about that. So, he averaged 22 rebounds and 4 assists for his career. So, his career average is 15 points, 22 rebounds, and 4 assists. So, my dude was just gobbling up rebounds left and right. He's also been credited as being maybe the greatest defensive anchor of all time, the greatest defensive player of all time. These are arguments that people can make for Mr. Bill Russell, who is my greatest Boston Celtic of all time. So people, please comment down below. Let me know what you think of my top 5 greatest Boston Celtics of all time. Let me know what your top 5 greatest Boston Celtics of all time is. And as always, you can always catch the show on Mondays at 6 p.m. on Facebook Live, Twitter. You can also, if you can't sit down and watch the show, you can listen to it on all major podcast streaming platforms. You can also check out the show on our YouTube channel, KY Beyond the Game. Or you can download the Beyond the Game app on your Amazon Fire Stick. Sit down, watch the live stream, or go back and watch previous shows as well. So this is your boy Nephew Q signing off. Lil Q, you got something you want to say?
I'm just surprised y'all got Fire Stick, multiple platforms. I'm so surprised.
Well, that's what we do. That's what we do here at Beyond the Game. But anyways, this is your boy Nephew Q, and as always, I want you to treat somebody how you want somebody to treat your mama. We at this thing, y'all. Peace.